All right. Hey, folks, it's another episode of America's Hometown Horror that's yet again brought to you by Shine Through Window Cleaning. Shine Through Window Cleaning is a family-owned and operated company that proudly serves America's hometown and the surrounding area. They certainly treat your home or business like they would treat their own. They truly believe in building their reputation on every job they do. Get in touch today to discuss your window cleaning, or more importantly, your gutter cleaning. No power washing needs at 781-812-9189 or at shinethrwindowcleaning.com at 781-812-9189 or at shinethrwindowcleaning. I would like to reinforce only gutter cleanings at this point.
Why?
Only
Window cleaning.
Only
No,
gutter
don't.
cleanings.
So don't be one of those people.
Yeah, we're past gutter. We're past power washing.
It is winter.
Well, my point is, people, if you would like to live deliciously, call Shine Through Window Cleaning today.
That's right. Good.
Hey, ho, ho, ho. Happy December, folks. Cannot believe it is December when you are listening to this show. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike. Can't believe that we are in month 12 of this crazy 2020 bullshit, folks.
I can't believe it's not butter.
I can't believe it's not butter either. I can't believe it. But anyway, like I said, my name's Mike. I am joined by my co-host, as always, Andrew.
What's up, everybody?
How you doing, pal?
That's my new lead-in. What's up? I'm doing good.
That's your new lead-in?
No,
What's up, everybody? That's your new thing? That's your
Hey, everybody! No, what was that?
Everybody?
What was that from? Hey, everybody! It was like, but it was like,
Hi, everybody. Dr. Nick, like from The Simpsons?
I can't remember. Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Yep.
There we go. Well, Andrew, it's good that you're
Nailed
here.
it.
Glad to have you here. And I'm also joined by Kat. Kat,
Hello
what
there.
is up?
Not much.
What's going on
You're
your
my
way?
new lead-in. Hello.
No, it's my
Hello. What's happening, December,
Hello,
Kat?
Muppet.
Nothing really. Nothing different from November or October or September or...
How was everybody's Thanksgiving? I asked how everyone's Thanksgiving was because we pretty much spent it together.
Yes,
hanging out together.
Thanksgiving Eve was very nice.
Yes.
Sake bombs.
Yes. Lots of sake bombs. Yep. Lots of sake bombs. Lots of
Thanksgiving
turkey.
night was nice too, when we had late night chicken legs and chicken
Drank
wings.
that whole
and
bottle.
Yeah,
drank,
lots of fun.
Drank the rest of the wine.
Watched the
watched
National Dog Show and
Yes,
had
twice.
lots of
We
drinks.
watched it twice.
Twice indeed.
Just to watch that poodle.
Yeah, for
Fuck
sure.
poodles.
Can you guys believe it's already December?
This year has flown by.
It really has.
For the worst year ever.
the
at least
slowest
it went
year
by
ever,
fast.
it's been
Flown by,
fast.
I feel like is an exaggeration.
I feel like it's flown by.
No, I feel like it is dragged.
Well,
I
drag.
think everyone is.
It's
in different
dragged.
boats of-
It's dragged by fast. I would say. I think it's been. I mean, look, it's already December.
I'm ready for this year to be
Christ.
fucking over and for next year to get here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you there.
It's going to be about 6 months before next year's any fun, too, so.
That,
Yeah,
I
that's probably
realize
true.
that, yeah.
Probably true. But hey, guys, speaking of December, we are coming up on our 1-year anniversary as a podcast.
Go us.
Woo-woo!
We the
Yeah,
base.
happy birthday to us.
I know. Seems like it was such a short time ago that we were sitting at Red Tea Garden talking about
We
the
talk about this
possibility
way too
of
often.
of doing a horror podcast.
Remember the day
and
that
here
we
we
were
are.
at Red Tea Garden?
When I was a kid.
Yeah, that was less than a year ago.
That was
Well,
pre-corona.
Well,
Yes.
Pre-corona.
my point being that we might have some fun stuff coming up in December to celebrate our 1-year anniversary, and we'll have to see.
Namely,
see.
Mike's
Treats?
going to release some nudes of himself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe some nudes. I guess we'll have to see. I don't think Instagram will allow that.
We are a horror podcast, so.
It would be
yeah.
horrific. It would be horrific. Dude, have you guys heard about these monoliths that have been in the Utah desert and in Romania? How fucking weird is that?
I don't know
aliens
what that is.
Invaded by
What's a
aliens.
monolith?
You didn't hear about
I
any
bet
of
you
this?
they've been there for forever and no one never found them. Well, no, but that's weird.
So basically, in the middle of the Utah desert, in the middle of like a national park, park rangers found a 10-foot tall, rectangular, metallic silver object in the middle of the desert.
When?
They have no idea how it
Just
got
now.
there.
Really? Just
A
now?
few days ago, they have
Oh.
no
Recently.
idea how it got there. And then yesterday, this was a few days ago, that it appeared I have no idea how it got there. Appeared.
8 years.
Yesterday. Or...
It moved.
Another one in Romania?
Did it move?
Hold on. It appeared, and as soon as it appeared, it disappeared without a trace. No idea how it was removed.
Is there pictures?
There are pictures of it.
To confirm that it was there and then it disappeared?
On reputable news sources,
Wow.
CNN, Fox News, everywhere. So basically, you can go on, you can see this. It's basically just like a tall, rectangular, almost like a 10-foot tall door.
I think I saw that somewhere, yeah.
So there was one in the Utah desert, and then that disappeared, and another one popped up in Romania. The exact same type of thing. So
Very, very interesting.
I ask you, are we being visited by aliens? Are we about to be invaded?
We've always been visited by aliens.
I agree with that. I think they're making their presence a little bit more known now since it's 2020 and everything's fucked. So
Yeah, they're like, you need help? We got you. Here's some...
It's the end
some
of the
metal
world as we know it.
Yeah. Welcome to Earth. Anybody watch anything good recently? Anything horror related? Like we usually talk about? Andrew, Kat, anybody?
I
don't think we did. I mean, when I ask you, Kat, pretty much I might as well be asking myself. Yeah. Andrew, anything?
Nothing horror related. Although, not really. I've been watching a lot of Forensic Files.
I guess that's kind of
It's
some
just
twisted
how to-
stuff,
helps
kind
you
of
how to
horror
murder
related. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, we didn't really watch anything anyway.
Yeah, no, not really.
I told you about that movie Bad Cut, but the only horror... It's not really horror but there's like a serial killer in it, and he's kind of cool.
It's a Netflix movie, right?
That's on Netflix, yes. I don't
Okay.
think it was a Netflix movie, but
Okay.
it came out in like 2014.
I feel like
okay, fair
we
enough,
had
fair
such a binge in October that I feel like once November,
Yeah.
mid-November, I was kind of all set with just watching a billion horror movies all the time.
We had a very, very busy October, the three of us, and I think we kind of took a step back, kind of regrouped a little bit. We only released a few episodes in November.
Got to press that reset button.
Yeah,
every
we are
once in a while.
going balls to the wall for full force here in December, as you will find out in the coming weeks.
More than one birthday this
Yeah.
month. Not just America's hometown.
Yes, exactly.
My birthday too.
Yes, Andrew's birthday is coming. Andrew's
My
birthday is
birthday
coming.
is
So that means
way
it's
cooler.
a great day. Great day. But hey, a little update on something we talked about in our last episode. What did we talk about last episode?
You tell me. You're the one who brought it up.
Oh,
What are
Creep
you
Show.
talking about?
Something that we talked about quickly in our Creep Show episode was Fright Kingdom in New Hampshire and Nashua, New Hampshire, that was doing their Christmas-themed haunt.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that got canceled due to COVID-19 restrictions. But this was the haunt that was going to be featured this coming weekend.
Oh, right.
3 days. It's a Krampus and other scary
Oh, it got
Christmas
canceled?
stuff.
That sucks.
So it actually got moved to July of 2021. So they're going to do a
That would be
Christmas-themed
cool.
haunt in July.
Well,
So
you know what makes
I think
sense?
that actually might be cooler.
That's
is
kind of awesome.
Christmas in July, because Christmas doesn't start early enough.
Yep.
So let's have it start... Sorry, I'm getting Scrooge on
No,
this.
no,
but
no.
That's so stupid, if you ask me.
Why?
That it's in July.
I fucking hate it. I
Well,
don't want to hear about it. I don't want to do it.
We'll be going.
I'm not going.
We'll be going. Kat and I will be going.
Yeah, I
You'll be
think we
coming
should
with.
go.
I will convince you over the next
have a
7
while
months
to-
to
yeah.
go.
Well, I'll basically go, I have nothing better to do.
Yeah, so it's going to be from July 16th through the 18th of 2021. At least it won't be freezing. It'll be hot as
Right,
hell, but
yeah.
a chance to experience a local haunted attraction in July that's based on Christmas. That is a once-in-a-lifetime type of thing, I think, because of COVID. Fucking weird. So fucking weird.
Super weird.
But yeah, so
Super freak.
Fright Kingdom. Fright Kingdom is going to be in July now instead of the normal first week in December like it usually has been. Hey, so guys, good news for Kat. Very light news week this week, but just some quick hits on some things that kind of popped up in my periffs over the last week. First thing, so hey, we all grew up in the 90s, right? We're all around the same age. We all grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, correct?
Yes.
Safe to say that we all watched Are You Afraid of the Dark in some way, shape, or form growing up, right?
Yes.
Might have influenced us in our horror fandom in some way, shape, or form, right?
Most likely.
Well, turns out you can watch Are You Afraid of the Dark, the original series, in its entirety, now streaming on CBS All Access.
Interesting.
So if you have
Fun.
CBS All Access, you can watch all of Are You Afraid of the
So
Dark.
you don't need to purchase the thing that you did for all of the Are You Afraid of the Dark?
So, no, that was a while ago, but what I did was, a few years back on Vudu, which is a random streaming service, they were offering the entire series of Are You Afraid of the Dark for about $10, and I own the whole thing now, which we still watch from time to time.
But now it would have been free if you just waited.
Well, I paid $10 for it. You pay $10 a month for CBS All Access, so it's worth it.
Which makes me wonder, is there a CBS limited access?
I wish. Because, well, if I could only pay a little bit and watch, some of the Twilight Zone and some Are You Afraid of the Dark. Yeah, exactly.
That would be nice.
That would be way better. Let's petition CBS for that. Yeah, they'd still make money.
No, not that much money, though.
Yeah, so Are You Afraid of the Dark has become more and more popular in recent years. Obviously, because of the original series, there was a reboot that aired last October that we watched in a new season that's coming out next October. So,
it's exciting.
If you're a fan of Are You Afraid of the Dark, you can watch it.
It's a really light news week.
Go ahead.
I was reading somewhere that the Ari Aster's new horror movie that may be coming out is going to star Joaquin Phoenix, potentially.
I love Joaquin.
And he wants it to be almost 4 hours long.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So
you lost me. You lost me there.
We talked about this a little
lost
bit,
me there.
I think, on Thanksgiving
4 hours.
Eve.
That long ago, huh? See, my brain is shot.
Yeah.
Oh, we talked about it not on the podcast.
Not on the podcast, in real life.
In real life, yeah.
Yeah. Well, then that doesn't matter.
Right, it doesn't matter.
Shut up while I tell the news.
Yeah, tell the news. Go ahead, Andrew. News it up.
Nick News with
Stick Stickly.
Who is the bitch with the short hair? Big one?
Laurie Beth Denberg.
Her?
Yes.
Yes, that was from all that. That
wasn't Nick.
No, it was remember Channel 1? Remember Channel 1 News? Did you have that in high school? I had that in high school.
I mean, like the legit Nickelodeon news thing where it was about something and it was that lady.
Yes.
I forgot her name.
I forgot
her name. While you look that up.
Linda Ellerby. And it was
Linda
Ellerby. And it was
okay, yes. Okay.
Linda Ellerby.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, she had short... Wait, was she like... She was like older and had
short white hair.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
No, you were thinking of the other girl that's on... Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. But a couple of other items real quick hits. Some Netflix sequel and reboot conversation. So we covered in one of our previous episodes, Hannibal, the TV series that was on NBC.
Yeah?
Was recently released to Netflix a few months back. Yeah. Right when we covered it, actually.
Yeah?
There's been no news of a reboot yet, but there's
your
apparently...
News? Your news is there's no news?
If I can... Can I finish? Yeah. Apparently, there is still potential for a fourth season because according to Mads Mikkelsen, who plays Hannibal Lecter... Yeah? He is hoping that they can find somebody to play Buffalo Bill for a fourth season because they now apparently have the rights to adapt The Silence of the Lambs into one of the seasons, and they want to do it. It's just a matter of whether or not it happens.
Can't they just get what's-his-face? I know he's not doing anything.
James Gum, what's his name? He's been in a bunch of stuff. I forget his name.
Why not bring him back?
Yeah.
He was perfect.
Well, I feel like they want to do something different.
The guy that played Buffalo Bill in the movie. No, don't. Why fuck with the good thing? Oh, wait, was she a great big fat person?
I just hope they get more Hannibal, and I hope we do see a Silence of the Lambs adaptation on Netflix.
I mean, if you're going to do
Hannibal,
why not cash in?
Yeah, I agree. Another item that has been dear to our heart recently.
Slow news week, huh?
Yeah, very slow. So the Chiodo brothers, there's 3 of them. Quote-unquote, talking all the time to Netflix about a Killer Klowns from Outer Space sequel.
Oh my god, that'd be so fun.
Apparently they've been trying to get a sequel developed since they released the first movie back in 1988. They have an exclusive deal with Netflix where the original Killer Klowns from Outer Space is now streaming on Netflix, but they also have their new Christmas special, which we talked about a few episodes back, called Alien Christmas, which is a stop-motion animated type thing that's available on Netflix right now. If you want to watch something that's weird, sci-fi, Christmassy type thing, that's out there now. But apparently they are still talking to Netflix about doing a possible sequel to Killer Klowns from Outer Space. I hope this gets made so bad.
Do you think it would be good?
I think it would be great. They've been marinating on ideas for...
Yeah, if it's not good, then you should...
Marinating is a great word. Say that.
Over 30 years.
Yeah.
32 years? 32 years they've been had the time to think about a sequel to Killer Klowns from Outer Space. I think they could definitely do this if they have the right ideas. So, yeah, I don't know. I hope they do a sequel to Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Yeah, and that's what I got for the news. Like I said, very slow news week.
Nice.
You guys cool with that?
I love it.
All right, that means we're on to...
I wish there was more news.
I know.
On to the next one.
Hey, dude, it's 2020. There's not really much happening in the film and television industry.
Next year's going to be a fucking bopper.
God, I hope so. Which means we are on to our movie of the night.
Our topic du jour.
Which, if you've seen,
Like Lady of the Night.
Yes, the topic du jour. God bless
Sorry,
you. Stop.
excuse
That's
me.
enough of
Wow.
that.
Sorry.
Good God Almighty.
She don't have corona, don't
No
worry.
corona, just allergies. Coronavirus, coronavirus, coronavirus. Which, of course, means, if you've seen the title of this episode, you know we are talking about The Witch tonight.
Not to be confused with Cat.
I'm not a
Burn!
Burn!
Baby.
Oh, my God. Oh, you
Wait,
want,
see that?
very nice.
Oh, but it was so good.
you want a little ointment for that burn? Oh, my God. You're going to take that from
so
Andrew?
Rude.
You're going to
so
take
rude.
that?
Both of you. Both
Oh.
of you. Very
Hey,
rude.
I didn't
Very
say it.
rude.
Thanks for the pork
No.
chops.
Kat just made you a nice dinner, and you're going to burn her like that. Very
Yep.
nice. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
When the shoe fits.
Just a classy guy.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
2 in 1.
Wow. Wow.
We haven't had one of these in a
I guess this
while.
sets the tone for the evening,
We
ladies
haven't
and
had one
gentlemen.
of these in a while, have we, Kat? No, because I already know where you're going with this movie, and I don't like it.
All right, Keith, let's
So.
go. Let's go, baby.
So
Let's
this
go.
is a very important topic to talk about for us because, dare I say, The Witch might not only be the most Plymouth horror movie ever made, but the most Plymouth movie ever made. Quite possibly. Quite
Fair.
possibly, for a number of reasons, which we will get into. But we've been kind of behind the scenes talking about potentially doing this movie for a while, so I'm very glad that we are finally talking about it, despite the fact that we probably all have... I think we all probably have some different opinions on this movie, which is going to be interesting. I don't think any of us really agree on much about
Agree
this
to
movie.
disagree.
Yeah. So we're going to talk The Witch tonight. All things The Witch, all things how it's related to Plymouth and America's hometown. So stay tuned and you will get all of that quality info. But first, I will start with you, Andrew. I ask you, what do you think of this movie? Do you like it? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Spoiler-free type generic thoughts.
It's very headsy, highbrow, horror. Mm-hmm. But it's also
Dare I
very,
say elevated horror?
Yeah.
Which I
like
hate
to go
that
with
fucking term.
highbrow or...
Highbrow horror, yep.
Because it's highbrow. I love me some lowbrow horror. But I also enjoy highbrow horror.
Dare I say...
I like this movie.
Dare I say a slow burn film? Not even a movie, a film.
I don't know if the wick ever actually lights in this movie. That's my only complaint about it, is it may be too slow of a burn. Like, it's good. I like the atmosphere. I like the tension that it builds. I like all that. I like the characters. I like everything. But I feel like when you finally get to the end, there should be more of
Some
a burn.
stuff happens,
It's
but
lacking,
there should be
it's
more.
lacking
There should be more.
that burst of flame.
The end.
Yeah. We're going
No spoil.
no
No
spoilers.
spoilers.
Just
No
general
spoilers
opinion.
quite yet.
So I like the
Alright.
movie. It's a good movie. It's just a little lacking in the end.
All right, fair enough. Kat, what about you? I know you are raring to talk about this.
I watched it the first time, and this was the second time I've watched it, and I haven't watched it in a while. There are certain things about it that I like, and there are certain things about it that I hate. And unfortunately, the hatred kind of takes over for most of the like piece.
In typical Kat fashion.
It's that woman that's in Game of Thrones. Drives me bananas.
So the
through
mother and the
movie.
witch. Yep.
And I'm just like, she kind of makes me hate it.
That distracted me as well. I will agree with you wholeheartedly on that. That distracted me pretty much throughout the
Like,
entire movie.
it's just so, and like in the same sense, I'm kind of debating with myself. I'm like, does that mean that she's that good of an actress that like she makes me hate her? Or am I
that
supposed
does
to hate her?
say a lot about the actress. Yeah, I think she is supposed to be a hateable character in this movie because she almost immediately turns on her older daughter and immediately accuses her of being a witch.
So then she must be a very good actor. Like that's
Yeah,
what I'm trying to think
she's
to
a good
myself.
she's
like,
a
so
good
she's
actress.
really good at what she does.
She's a good
because
actress,
I
and
absolutely hate
she's
her.
very good at
Probably
playing
they-
hateable roles.
They probably told her, you have a really ugly face, so be hateable.
It's not even her face; it's her attitude. It's like
Oh, I know, but her
like,
face,
everything
she
about
looks
her
like
is just
see you next Tuesday. Like, there's nothing about her that is enjoyable.
yeah.
Even in
That-
Game of Thrones, when she's got her child suckling on her breast, I'm like, what the fuck is going
It's
on?
the same thing.
Same thing.
So
She's a
breast
big
suckling
fan
in
of
this one,
breastfeeding
too,
in movies
yeah.
because she does it in Game of Thrones and in this.
That is true. I completely forgot about
But
that.
like,
Weird.
I will say this movie. Not to cut you off, this movie does not paint a very good picture of people that are ultra religious.
No. Well, in the same sense,
A different
though,
time of religion.
Yeah, it's
Of
a different.
course, of
yeah,
course,
it's
of
a
course.
different type of religion.
We're not going to get into religion.
This is totally, like, my type of movie, where it's, like, I love Hocus Pocus and, like, that kind of,
We know you love Hocus Pocus.
Of course, yes. So, like,
We've
you know,
heard that.
Pilgrims, Plymouth Plantation, the whole thatched roofs, living on your own, living on the land, whatever, like, that's cool. I'm into that. I hated the way they talked. Can
we make one really early on distinction?
Yes.
Do not compare Hocus Pocus in this movie because they are so different.
Say that.
It's not
the
even
only
close.
thing that those two movies have in common is the word witch.
Yeah,
that's
you
it.
can't compare those movies together.
No, because when
And
they
don't
were
because
in the
Hocus
beginning-
Pocus is called Hocus Pocus.
Okay.
But there are witches in Hocus Pocus.
And in the beginning, they were in that era, the same era that the witch takes
and
place.
it's a
So this movie,
Disney
takes
movie.
place in the 1630s.
Okay.
I'm not sure when the first
Also,
scene
this
of
movie is
Hocus
more
Pocus takes
genuine
place,
and distinct to that time period. I'm sure Hocus Pocus was
right.
so far off.
Which leads directly into why you were not a fan of the way they talked, because that's the way people talked in New England back then when they came over on the Mayflower. That was
I thought that
pretty much how
element
they
was
talked.
huge. That's
I
what you
honest
need
to
in a
God
movie.
could not understand half the words they were saying.
I know,
And
it was
just
very tough to follow.
This
Yeah.
is obnoxious.
So-
I might as well be reading subtitles.
Yes, you might as well.
Yes.
I've been clamoring for subtitles my entire life. Subtitles make everything better.
Mm-hmm.
I watch everything with subtitles.
I don't mind subtitles.
because
I'm with
I'm deaf, and also that's the problem with
Deep.
movies like this. The music is so loud, and everything else
I
is so
can't
loud, and then when they
understand,
talk,
yeah.
it's just a bunch of mumbling
Blah,
madness.
blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
So
You know,
watch
like-
it with subtitles. You'll learn to love it. It takes time, but
Did you watch this with subtitles?
I watch everything with subtitles.
Oh,
So-
you did?
So
okay,
that's
all right.
a different
All right.
experience
Yeah.
because I would have had a much better experience. I think.
Yeah,
with
which is
subtitles.
why people are like, you watch stuff with subtitles? What are you, 1,000 years old? Maybe. I am.
Yeah, I think
And
you
because
are.
they realize that, hey, this is way better.
Yeah.
Watch
You
it
don't
with
have to.
subtitles.
Yeah, you just
Sure.
you have the option. I love it because you can hear conversations that were just in the script that weren't meant to be heard, and it's on the screen. You're like, that's a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking specifically of the scene where the mother and father are in bed and the kids are all in their separate room, and they can essentially hear the parents talking about selling Thomason into, like, you know, basically into servantry, right?
Yep.
So you can kind of hear what they're saying, but the subtitles would probably elevate that scene quite a bit because you can get every
Right.
line of what they're saying.
Yeah, because I mean, even when like that kid is.
The son?
Spoilers. Yeah, I was gonna
Caleb.
say the son when he's like laying down.
Yeah,
and,
Caleb.
saying all this like nonsense.
When he's
like,
having his,
yelling, when he's having his
Seizure and-
exorcism.
yeah.
whatever his
He's being possessed by the devil.
and like you don't know half the words that are coming out of his mouth. Like you kind of understand a word here and there, and then you're kind of like, I get the point that he's getting across,
Yeah.
but I don't
Yeah.
really know what he's actually saying.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, for sure. He's just essentially giving his soul to Jesus because he's so concerned that his soul is going to go to hell if he dies young, that he wants to make sure he goes to heaven.
Because he's worried about his brother.
Exactly, exactly. So, I've now seen this movie twice, okay? First time that I saw it, that actually we saw it, Kat and I,
On a plane.
on a plane to Mexico, of all
Yeah.
places. We watched The Witch and we watched Green Room back
You guys
to back.
watch a lot of movies on planes.
We do, well, because we used to fly a lot before all this bullshit. Now we can't fly anymore.
I would love to be in Mexico.
So basically, I watched it on a plane to Mexico the first time. Second time was last night in a huge rain and windstorm here in Plymouth, where we had all the lights off. We were watching the movie. Otis was cuddling between us because he was scared shitless of the wind. But the first I'd actually heard about this movie was, believe it or not, from a tweet by Stephen King. So Stephen King, obviously, you know, he writes a bunch of stuff, but he also is a big consumer of horror movies, which I love that. You know, he writes horror. He should be a consumer of horror movies. And generally when he tweets about certain horror movies, or a lot of the movies that he kind of gushes about, I tend to have the same taste as him. Like, I tend to like most of the movies that he kind of gushes about. So this is what he had to say about The Witch when it first came out. And I quote from Stephen King's Twitter, @StephenKing. "The Witch scared the hell out of me, and it's a real movie, tense and thought-provoking as well as visceral." Okay, Stephen King's thoughts.
Things.
Stephen Thing's thoughts.
Stephen Thing's God.
So my ears usually perk up a little bit when I hear King rave about a particular movie. Here are some of the other movies that he has raved about that I love: Blair Witch Project, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, The Descent, The Mist, The Ruins, The Strangers, Love all of those movies.
Yeah.
I say all of these things because while I think this is a great... let me backtrack. While I think this is a very good movie that is beautifully shot, beautifully acted, beautifully costumed, beautifully written, etc., etc., at no point watching this movie was I ever scared in any way, shape, or form.
It would take a certain human person to be scared of this movie. Like, it's just tension.
Tension. Continuously building a sense of dread.
Yeah.
Which,
it's not scary,
I appreciate.
But you can appreciate how horrifying that situation in real life would be. If you were in that, first off, I would never want to be alive in that time period. Sounds terrible. Everyone's dying and this is happening.
Right.
Like, it's a very believable situation that if you were put in that situation, who the fuck wants to be alive for that?
Oh, God,
That's
nobody.
awful.
God, nobody. I mean, if you put yourself in the shoes of the main character.
Dude, I'll take 2020 any day over that time.
Oh, 100%. Dude, you get banished from a plantation to go live on your own and basically make a living of your own, and if you fail, you die, pretty much.
Got banished?
Yeah, they got
that was the first scene of the movie.
I didn't really understand.
So the very first scene of the movie, like after it says "The Witch," a tale of New England folklore, or whatever it says. No, it's not spoilers. It shows the family standing trial in front of all of the other colonists in Plymouth, where basically they have a religious dispute, and out of pride, the father says, "Screw you! I disagree with you. We're not going to live here anymore," and they set out on their own. Which he later admits in the movie is not because of religious, ideologies or whatever. He basically just does it out of pride. So, yeah, I just think it never truly scared me, but it builds a sense of dread, which I can also respect. It's just not the type of movie that scares me particularly.
I understand why people get upset when this movie was marketed as a horror movie, and it came out, and they thought it... Like, this isn't a horror movie. It's a horror movie, but not to your average horror fan.
Yeah.
So I can understand why people were upset when it first came out, and they were like, this is stupid, this is terrible, because it was marketed wrong.
That speaks to potentially the problem with horror these days, is that I think you say the average horror fan, right? Not people that are fans like us, but the average horror fan. They're going to see a movie back...
A slasher.
Hey, remember when movie theaters were a thing?
They want slashers.
They want to go see jump scares. They want to be scared. They want to jump. They don't necessarily want to be... They don't want to experience like thought-provoking,
I don't want it to sound
existential
like we're
dread.
talking down to those people either.
I'm not.
I'm just saying there's two different types of horror fans. There's horror fans who just like what you just said.
Correct.
And then there's people that like more. Like I like psychological thrillers. I like every type of movie. Indie.
It's
dumb.
It's all
boring.
up to personal taste.
I love boring movies. Put on a boring movie, I'll watch the shit out of that movie. And people will be like, this is the most boring movie I've ever watched.
Like for example, I don't like slasher movies. A lot of people don't like monster movies, which I love. A lot of people don't like slow burn movies, which you love. A lot of people don't like psychological thrillers, like you love, or whatever. So it's just it's up to people's taste. And I feel like this is sounding so much more negative than I intended it to be. This is a very good movie. It's not one of my personal favorites. I understand that it is done very well, and it definitely is a cool story with some cool supernatural elements, but for me, it's not one of my personal favorites, which, like I said, I think this movie does have, while we're on it, one of the biggest holy shit moments in horror of the last 5 years, because we're in 2020. This came out in 2015. If nobody spoiled the ending for you, you definitely are like, holy fuck, when it happens the first time. I know I was when a certain thing happens. I also think it's important, like I said, that we're covering this movie because it would not have been made without Plymouth. Would not have been made without America's hometown, or more specifically, the artist formerly known as Plymouth Plantation, now known as Plimouth Pawtuxet. All right, guys, so before we get into facts about The Witch and we get into our categories like we always do, let's talk about some fellow 2015 horror movies and if you've seen them. I'm not going to ask you to rank them. I just want you to react to these movies and tell me if you've seen them. I know there's a few good ones this year that I have not seen. Starting out with The Blackcoat's Daughter. You seen that movie?
I have not.
It's on Netflix.
Sounds good.
Crimson Peak, which is a Guillermo del Toro movie. Have not seen that, unfortunately. The Gift, which I have seen.
Oh,
Great movie with Jason
Great
Bateman.
movie.
Yeah.
Jason Bateman, Joel Edgerton.
That's one of Bateman's best movies.
The Rebecca Hall from The Town. That's a great
I like
movie.
her. Yeah.
I like that a lot. The Goosebumps movie with Jack Black. Really enjoyed that movie quite a bit.
I've never seen that.
Having
it's
grown up,
good.
read the Goosebumps.
I know. And I love
read
Jack
the Goosebumps
Black.
books.
Is that on Netflix?
It
was at one point. I know the sequel is on
Because The Witch
Netflix.
was also on Netflix, and it's not on there anymore.
Not anymore. Insidious Chapter 3 also came out
I like all the
in
Insidious
2015.
movies.
I'm a sucker for the Insidious movies, so I like that movie. That's a very good movie. I know we've seen all of them.
Yeah.
I remember when we watched the first Insidious movie together, like right when we first started dating.
Oh my god!
We were watching it at my apartment in Quincy. Oh my god, terrible! So scary. A fantastic movie called The Invitation.
Love that movie.
Love that movie. Oh my god, so good.
Movie on that same level, Coherence.
Coherence, I love Coherence.
Phenomenal.
Excellent movie.
There's a reason there's vinegar in here. Stinks so bad.
Fruit fly.
Kat has seen a fruit fly, so she has
my
a
god!
thing of
I wouldn't have
vinegar.
mentioned it if I knew you were going to do this.
I don't know if that's going to stay on there, but okay.
Is that
if
apple
that
cider
spills,
vinegar
you're
too?
cleaning it up.
Jenga.
That's got to be apple cider vinegar.
It is. It's apple cider.
A
vinegar.
terrible movie that came out in 2015, starring Olivia Wilde and Mark Duplass, who was the creep from Creep.
He is the creep.
The Lazarus Effect. Did anybody see this movie?
I've seen that
No.
movie.
Yikes. Ooh, bad. Very bad.
Not memorable.
Very, very, very bad. Another bad movie. Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension. After the first one, you lost me. Bad movies. Bad
When you're
movies.
naming a movie The Ghost Dimension, you've given
Bad.
up. You're
Very
just
bad.
like, ghosts and dimensions.
Yes.
Let's
Let's come up with a different title other than Paranormal Activity 4.
Ghost Dimension.
Speaking
That
of
is Paranormal
speaking of terrible movies, the Poltergeist remake. Oh my God, was this movie
I don't think
bad.
I ever saw that.
I saw about 20 minutes of it. It's so fucking bad. Sam Rockwell's in it. How the fuck did they get him to be in that piece of shit?
Sam
I have no
Rockwell's
idea.
good, too, so
He's
that
an
must-
awesome actor, and they got him.
and
to,
he
it
still
must have
couldn't
been
save that movie?
It must have been a contractual obligation for him because there's no way that he would have agreed to be in a movie that bad. Andrew, Sinister 2. Have you seen this? Also came out in 2015.
Movie
No.
smells.
Yeah.
It's all about.
I know we covered the first movie on our
It's all
show.
about Sheriff so and so or Deputy so and so.
Okay.
It's like him.
Obviously, I love Sinister. I've never seen Sinister 2. I have no idea what it's like, so I can't
It's a
comment.
spin-off with him trying to save a couple that lives at a house.
Okay. All right.
Stupid.
Fair enough. With Bagul, obviously.
All about Bagul.
Okay.
Like the death scenes, are cool, but other than that, it's terrible.
Also came out in 2015, an M. Night Shyamalan picture, The Visit. Good movie.
I think we watched that.
Good movie.
Yeah.
It's the one with the kids that it's
The
a found
Visit,
footage
the
movie, and they go to
Hansel
their
and Gretel
grandparents.
kinda?
Yeah,
that
Hansel
is-
and Gretel,
that's a
Gretel type
spooky
vibes.
movie.
Good movie. I liked it. I liked it
Yeah.
a lot. Not everybody did, but I actually enjoyed it. And of course, the final movie that I'll talk about for 2015, which we covered on our very first episode back on December
Krampus.
17th, 2019, Krampus.
Krampus.
Which, if you want our thoughts on Krampus, go back and listen to our first episode. Or actually, I should say, don't go back and listen to our first episode on Krampus because it's probably so bad.
Terrible. It's an awful episode. But
I'd like to
Really?
hope.
Maybe
I'd
we'll
like
do
to hope that
Krampus.
we've come such a long way in a year. I think we probably have.
we could do
But
Krampus 2.0.
oh my god, I went back through my outline for Krampus, and I had so many notes. It was probably so boring and so long. So yeah, that's what we got for 2015 horror. So The Witch is obviously up there with among the best of them. I like a lot of them, but some quick facts about The Witch, and this is where we'll get into the Plymouth stuff here. Okay, so we talked about how important of a role Plymouth plays in this movie, and you wanted to know why, Catherine, okay?
Yes.
So this movie is directed
Why?
by a guy named Robert Eggers. This is his first feature film, which is fucking incredible.
Knocked
this
it out
is
of
his
the
first
park
movie.
for his
Yep.
first movie.
Also directed 2019's The Lighthouse. Andrew, we were just talking about this. So of the two movies that Robert Eggers has directed, The Witch and The Lighthouse, which did you prefer?
I prefer The Lighthouse.
As do I.
I love that movie.
I should see it. I didn't watch it yet.
It's the.
I'd watch
the,
it again with you.
don't have to
You're
watch it.
I mean,
gonna hate it.
The chemistry between Pattinson and Defoe in that movie are so good. It's so good.
I kind of, man crush isn't the right word, but I feel like the acting trajectory of Robert Pattinson I respect so much recently. He's so good in so many things, and he's so good in that movie. And Willem Dafoe is just such a fucking weirdo. He's good in everything.
Oh, he's perfect for
and
this
they're
role.
both awesome. And I feel like that movie is probably 1 or 2 scenes away from potentially being the best Lovecraft movie ever made.
Well, what makes...
They're 1 or 2 tentacles away.
Like, you want to talk about a
being
horrific
the best
situation,
Lovecraft
like,
movie.
we talk about the witch and how you're put in this weird situation where you're relying on yourself and yourself only in their situation because they were outcast by their colony. This is, like, the same thing, except it's you and this other weird dude on a rock for 6 months, longer, if a storm comes in. Dude, I mean, it gets to the
6
point where that
months?
guy's masturbating to, like, a fucking
Yeah,
weird mermaid.
it's not a movie for everybody. There's a lot of masturbation, a lot of weird stuff.
What else are you gonna do?
A lot of crazy stuff, but...
I think I need to, well, not for the masturbation piece, but like just to see how they
you
like
don't
live.
want to watch Robert Pattinson masturbate?
That's not the selling point for this
not
movie,
really,
to a
no.
weird mermaid
No.
thing.
Yeah.
No, but
So
the
lighthouse is good. Is my point.
It
And,
seems, it seems like
watch
a good
it.
movie that I would
Watch
check
it.
out.
Yeah, you should check
If
it out.
that's a psychological thriller,
I
but
like
So
psychological.
the
thrillers,
lighthouse
so.
also takes place in New England, like The Witch, because Robert Eggers, the director, is from Lee, New Hampshire, which is about 20 miles west of Portsmouth. So he grew up in New England, and I quote. This is a quote from 2016 in the Patriot Ledger.
dude, there's nothing
Okay?
more New England than the
Patriot Ledger. Robert Eggers said to the Patriot Ledger, "The film would not have been possible without spending a lot of time in Plymouth."
Ooh.
And I quote.
First off,
Mic
if this
drop.
doesn't tell you at what point this man was in at his was at in his career, if that he's doing an interview with the Patriot Ledger, Robert Eggers doing that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, think about it. In 2016, before he was a big guy,
Yeah.
and this movie came out, it was kind of killing it on like the festival
you said
circuits.
this, because this movie came out in January
local guy.
of 2016 is when I saw it. I saw it in theaters with my.
You saw The Witch in theaters?
with my girlfriend at the time because I saw the previews and I was like, I want to see this movie. So I took my girlfriend, and she fucking hated this movie.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't know if I would watch it again. Maybe, but
It's not exactly a fun watch,
it's
so I
not
can
a
understand
fun
that.
movie to watch by any means, and that's not really up my alley. Like, I feel like it didn't. It was hard to just pay attention to it at times because I feel like I got so frustrated watching it between like trying to pay attention to what they were saying and like. I didn't really like it.
Okay.
Again, I
enough.
told you, watch
Hate
the
it.
subtitles.
Yeah, so
I
Andrew
hate
called
it.
it. What if you are a first time viewer of this movie? I would highly suggest that you watch it with subtitles. That's a great call by Andrew.
Because that was honestly the most frustrating part of this entire movie was just watching them talk and being like, I get what you're saying, but like I can't just easily understand this. And I feel like if I did,
I mean,
it
you
would make
still
it
have to
so
read
much
that
better.
weird language, but if you have
Right.
any idea of
But,
the
like,
English language, you can figure it out.
I love like Pan's Labyrinth, and that has subtitles through the entire movie, and they speak Spanish. So I mean,
Well, a perfect example, a movie that I haven't seen yet that I really want to see. It won Best Picture at the Oscars last year. Was Parasite, the Korean movie that came out. I
And that's-
I
have
want
no
to
idea
see
what you're
that.
talking
It's supposed
about.
to be awesome.
that show Dark on Netflix.
All in
Oh,
subtitles.
we watched
Yeah,
you can
We watched
watch
the
it with
first
you
season.
can watch it dubbed. It's terrible.
terrible
we did
dubbed.
that.
Oh
You
yeah,
don't
we
watch-
tried
you don't
and we had to
watch
go
shows dubbed.
subtitles.
You need to watch subtitles, and I think for that show it helps because it's so convoluted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so much shit going
Yeah.
on that to read it and to hear it. Well, you're not hearing it because you don't know what they're saying, but to read it is so much more beneficial to you in the long run.
yeah,
Agreed. I
no,
agree.
I am the number one proponent for
Do you?
subtitles.
How much did you watch of Dark?
I've seen 2 seasons, and I need to rewatch those first 2 seasons because it's so fucking confusing that I still don't know what's
Yeah.
going
That might be a show that we should continue to watch.
We need to get
we've only
into it.
we've only seen the first season.
We
so.
watched it and I liked it, but yeah, I agree.
It's
with the,
weird. It's like I feel like you need
it's
to-
tough.
You need to
You need to be in a
watch it.
mindset where you put your phone down and just escape into that show for.
Oh, because
because
if you miss like a few minutes,
you're done.
Oh,
you're
done,
like,
yeah.
who is who?
What
What?
happened? Yeah.
All right, so back to Plymouth, okay? So Robert Eggers, the director, as I mentioned, he's from New Hampshire. He
Correct.
made, apparently, frequent trips to Plymouth Plantation as a child. Here's a quote from Robert Eggers. "I went there a lot as a kid, and I really loved it. I think this film owes a lot to what I experienced in Plymouth when I was a kid. It really felt like a time machine. Even when I took my first trip there 6 years ago to begin research on this project, I remember driving down the highway, seeing the thatch roofs, peeking out from the palisade, and it was very gloomy. You could smell the smoke in the air. I was as giddy as I was as a little kid going back there on those field trips. This guy loves Plymouth Plantation, loves Plymouth, and this movie would not have been made without Plymouth.
I mean, it's got to be fairly obvious that if you were a child growing up within 100 miles of Plymouth Plantation, you went there on a field trip.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean...
I went there on a field trip one time.
Everybody's been there on a field trip.
And I grew up in Hyde Park. I mean, I went...
You went to that, and then you went to Omni Theater in Boston, and you got to see... It was like not the mom... It wasn't Mom, but it was...
What? Jordan's Furniture
at Mom.
Same thing as Omni Theater.
Yeah.
That was like when you first went there, and it was a Roger Clemens fastball coming at you.
Yeah.
So good. So New England. Loved it.
So Eggers actually wanted to shoot this movie in New Hampshire, where he's from.
New Hampshire?
Due to financial reasons, he was unable to do so, and it was shot in Canada. This proved to be something of a problem for Eggers. He couldn't find a forest environment he was looking for in Canada, actually. So
That's
they had
surprising.
to go, quote-unquote, off the map, as he says. They eventually found a remote location in Ontario, where basically he said that the nearest town in Ontario made New Hampshire look like a metropolis. So that's just an idea of how cut off from civilization they were making this movie. And I actually thought the forests did look like they were New England deep forests.
Oh, absolutely.
Here.
They look like Morton Park.
A little bit.
They have the really, really, really tall trees.
It reminded me of Plymouth just as much as... you ever see that movie, The Place Beyond the Pines?
No. Yeah,
the
Gosling
Ryan Gosling
and
movie,
my boy
and
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper, my boy Ryan Gosling. His
why
boy.
have you guys seen this movie?
I was like, that felt like Plymouth because of those pine trees and they were riding their motocross bikes through it. But that's a great... You haven't seen that movie?
No.
I love Ryan Gosling, so...
Wow, Jesus Christ. Who are the women in this podcast? Like, seriously.
Well, you don't watch a lot of
Eva
movies.
Mendes is in that movie, too.
She is, yeah.
She's actually married to Ryan Gosling.
Oh, okay.
In case you were wondering.
No, I wouldn't know that because, you
didn't know that?
No.
I thought that was common knowledge.
I don't follow
Shows
all
how
the
gay I
celebrities.
am.
Oh, my God.
So despite the fact that Eggers could not film in New Hampshire or even in New England for this movie, he did, however, consult with Plymouth Plantation the entire time. Their archives, the people that worked there, very extensively to ensure that the sets, the costumes, the screenplays were all historically accurate. So this movie is accurate to what people would have talked like, sounded like, dressed like, acted like back in that time period in the 1630s, 1640s.
It's as good a artsy horror movie as it is a time period piece.
Yeah.
Like he nails the period piece, which is why I think that we were talking about that other movie that he's doing, Vikings, a Viking movie, is going to be good because he knows how to do period pieces. Mm-hmm. He clearly puts the time in and the effort to research that and make sure that it comes through in his films. So, to me, the sky's the limit for him. Maybe he doesn't need to do horror. Maybe he can just do more psychological thriller period pieces, because I'd be down with that.
Well, he loves horror, and one thing I forgot to mention that I wanted to bring up before when we were talking about his movies, obviously he's only done The Witch and The Lighthouse. He's going to do that Viking movie, I forget what it's called, but he also is tied to a Nosferatu remake, which I think would be perfectly
Well, I'm guaranteeing you he
him.
would do it black and white.
Oh, that would be great.
He would.
So great. So great. All right, so off of the Plymouth facts here about this movie.
Speaking of Willem Dafoe, Willem Dafoe in that movie with John Malkovich about Nosferatu, the filming of Nosferatu.
Yeah.
So good. Willem Dafoe as Nosferatu is perfect.
Max
so
Schreck.
maybe he could bring him in on the project.
Agreed.
I would say the one more thing about Plymouth Plantation is that we've had a guest on who used to work at Plymouth Plantation.
That's correct.
And who loved working there. And I wish so Matt, who did Hereditary with us, and then who did
Dark Side of Disney. Yep.
He used to work at Plymouth Plantation part-time. And he said that it was like an awesome place to work and that it was really like fulfilling. Obviously, he's worked at Disney before. He did the Jungle Tour and stuff.
Yeah.
And he loved it. He loved working there. He thought it was an awesome like experience and stuff. And
Well, lesson to all you kids out there.
He's going to be so mad that, like, I mentioned it, but, like, he couldn't be on it to mention it. But I'm sure he'll be on an upcoming episode or two.
Speaking of...
just a lesson to all you kids out there. Someday, if you work at Plymouth Plantation and you do set design, you might be able to work at Walt Disney World, like our friend did, which is just incredible.
Totally.
So crazy. Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You were going to say, Andrew? I'm sorry.
Off topic, but kind of on topic, because we talked about Sam Rockwell earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in... What's that movie that he's in? Was it a Chuck Palahniuk book or
Chuck Palahniuk?
Chuck Palahniuk book.
Chuck Palahniuk wrote Fight Club.
And then he wrote this movie...
Choke,
where Sam Rockwell is on like...
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
Weird movie. Very weird. Very
so weird. He's like a sex addict.
So, have you guys ever seen the spelling of this movie as the VVitch?
So funny you should say that because
Mm-hmm.
yes, I have. And no, it's just the type of it. But go
I understand.
ahead. Are you gonna?
Do you know why it has been
I've seen it.
portrayed that way?
I understand.
So basically, the spelling of the title, The Witch, is with VV, is how the word was written in the story's period because the letter W was not yet in common use at the time.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. So there was 2 V's to represent a W. Remember that bunny rabbit that appears in the movie all the time?
Yes.
That
Black one?
accompanies the score of creepiness. So the hare appears frequently in the film. In colonial New England, hares were considered magical creatures in their own right. They were often associated with witches, either as milk hare, which stole or spoiled milk from the farm animals, or the witch themselves, who were thought to be able to turn into a hare in order to spy on and influence people. So maybe that's why the hare is in that movie. Robert Eggers has never said, so you never know, but that's just potential background on this movie.
Can I talk about an aspect of this movie that I thought was pretty interesting?
Sure.
Overall, I thought the sound, like the score and the music and the sound effects were awesome because, like, the guy, I don't even know his name, but the father would go outside and chop wood and they'd play this, like, horrific music. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, he's just chopping wood, but I wouldn't be nervous by any means if they didn't play this horrifying music in the background. Like, that set so much of the tone.
He's just doing a daily chore, but
so much of the tone for, like, the entire movie was really based off of the music.
Agreed.
And the sound effects. Because if there wasn't any music or sound effects, it wouldn't create any sort of mood. Well, and otherwise you'd just be watching them.
But that's the general mood in that time period. Like, you're chopping wood, but you're constantly worried about your next meal.
Right.
Are you going to get sick? Is someone going to die? How are you going to feed yourself? Like, so that's...
Are we going to ford the river?
So a guy doing a very innate task, such as chopping wood,
right,
which you would know nothing about, I would know nothing about, because we don't chop fucking wood.
I would if
we
I
have
could.
heat.
Michael
but he's chopping wood so that his family doesn't freeze, and he's hoping that his traps catch something, because if they don't, his whole family starves to death and they die.
Actually,
that's what makes this movie so horrifying.
Can I piggyback on that on another thought?
Sure.
Do you think that if they didn't have any food, would they turn to cannibalism?
Everybody would.
Probably,
at some point.
Yeah.
One person would survive.
They were probably close, yeah.
That's what I felt like that was the vibe when they were like... Did you get that? Like,
I did.
There was a weird cannibal vibe where they were like, we don't have any crops. We need to go out and hunt. If we don't go out and hunt, we're going to starve. And, like, he looks at him and he's, like, looking at everyone else. And I'm like...
There's a vibe of madness that flows throughout this movie the entire time. Especially, so when William and Catherine, who are the parents, they bury Caleb after he spits up the apple. Because we're now into spoiler territory.
Right, yes,
okay? He spits up the apple, he confesses his love to Jesus, and he dies. And they're burying him. And Catherine lays in the grave with dead him. Caleb.
Yeah.
You think for a second that William is going to fucking smash her in the head with a shovel and kill them both. Well, not kill them both, but kill Catherine.
This is what leads me to believe that Catherine is the witch.
Yeah,
like if you look, just everything that happens around her is death and bad, and it's just not good. And Thomason is just a party to that. She's not actually the cause of this evil. Her mom is the fucking cause of this evil. And I think she's the real witch, because when Thomason, at the end of the movie, when she's walking up, when they're in a circle dancing around the fire, she seems like she just found this.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't something she's been doing for a while. So who's the real witch?
So I almost got the feel when, like, the mom was saying, like, do you think they're awake right now? And they're talking, and then they're saying to, like, drop off Tom Wilson, like, and get rid of her. Right? Like, that whole thing happened, right? Am I making that up? Because that's what I got from that. I'm like, I only got every so many words. But then, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, the father went to go comfort her, and the mother is always against her. And I'm like, is she from a different woman?
Yeah,
like,
you wonder.
Like,
because he is very supportive of her, and she is not.
And she doesn't look anything like what's her face because she's a natural blonde. Like, I mean, it's a different. She's a different person than the twins and the other baby.
Mm-hmm.
So you wonder. You're like, is she from another? And there's the age difference is so big. Even with the other one in the middle.
I think
and then the other one in the middle is looking at her boobs.
Yeah,
that was weird, huh?
So you're
very
forgetting
strange.
about the two youngest children.
Right, but that's what I mean. Like, so
they're so young.
Right, they're so young. And then the little baby, is that her baby? Or is that, like...
Those are all her children. They just have babies all the time. That's what their point was.
But it's...
That's what it was back then, yeah.
Because
Right,
it's like turtles.
yes.
You hope one of them survives.
Yeah.
So then, like... I wonder if, like, she was from another wife or something.
I think it was more the fact that the husband constantly lied about what happened, and he used his children as a means to...
Which she calls him out about at the end
and
says, like, hey, like, you think I'm a sinner? What about you? Lying about me all the time. Am I covering for you about this? Am I covering for you about that?
Yeah.
I think... And I have read that this movie is ultimately about the empowerment of Thomasin as a female. Because she ultimately escapes this, I hate the word, and I don't want to sound like a woke douchebag.
Patriarchy?
She escapes this patriarchy, this super religious, patriarchal bullshit. Ultimately makes her own decision to become a servant of Lucifer, of the devil.
Yeah.
Makes her own decision, despite being called a witch the entire time, which she's not. And ultimately, at the end, that's what she becomes because she has nobody left to do so. I thought that was a very interesting thing. So I think this is definitely a very empowering film. A very empowering film, not only for women, but for Thomasin as a character as a whole. All right. We got off topic there, but
did we?
I think that was all on
Since
topic.
we're in spoiler territory, a couple more quick facts before we get into categories and stuff. So, Black Phillip, the goat.
Yes, thoughts?
The goat.
Or what?
So Black Phillip asks Thomasin, "Wouldst thou like the taste of butter?" Okay? When he
Black
actually
Phillip,
first...
the goat?
The goat, when he first appears to Thomasin, he asks her, "Wouldst thou like the taste of butter?" At the time, in the 15th and 16th centuries, the Catholic Church declared eating butter was a bigger sin than lying, blasphemy, and impurity.
Oh my god, I am so going to hell.
You would have been in
I am
hell so
already
bad.
already in flames.
When Jesus was in the desert or in the fucking wilderness, he was tempted by Satan, who
had butter?
He was just tempting him. He was the master of temptation. Satan tempts you. So Black Phillip was a perfect, like,
it was
vehicle
weird,
for
even
Satan,
like, and then like
the
when the
devil.
twins were doing the taunting thing, I was like, Black Phillip, and I'm sitting
Dude,
there, I'm
the
like,
funniest thing about
did
the
they
twins-
know that he's like a weird thing?
Well,
Like,
obviously you never see Black Phillip talk to the twins, but it's implied that he actually was the entire time, because they say that he was.
right?
And
are
then
they
he
dead
actually
at the end of
talks.
that movie?
I don't know.
I
Because they're laying
I
on
think
the floor,
so.
and I'm like,
I
are
think
they
so.
dead?
I think so.
Because that's why I think it's the mother
so.
more than anything.
They're
That's
not-
the witch.
No, because they're not dead. Because when they're on the bed, they get up when like he starts taunting them or something, and they like wake up and they're
No, this is after that.
whatever. Yeah,
One
Also,
final.
they look like little people.
those twins.
with the weird
suck.
clothes that they're wearing.
Yeah.
They're the
They-
best.
Yeah.
They
She
suck.
comes over and then she goes,
Black
I am the
Phillip,
witch of the
Black
woods. That's one of my
Phillip.
favorite scenes is when she pins her to the ground in the marsh. And she go, I be the witch of the woods.
Yeah.
And she's like scaring the shit out
Oh
of
yeah,
her.
and
So
she's
good.
scared. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
One
Sorry,
final
go ahead.
fact before we move on to our categories, folks, okay? So the Satanic Temple, which is actually a thing in 2020, it's still alive, still out there, has endorsed The Witch and hosted several screenings of this film. Their spokesperson addressed this film as a, quote, an impressive presentation of satanic insight that will inform contemporary discussion of religious experience. So this movie has actually been endorsed by the Satanic Temple. Kind of crazy if you think about it.
I mean, they must be onto something
insane.
then.
That's
Must
kind
be
of
onto
insane.
something.
Yeah, kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. You guys ready to move on to categories? I've kind of already talked about this. I don't find this movie scary. Andrew, do you find it scary?
No. I find it... I don't know. I don't
Weird,
find it scary.
off-putting,
I find it enjoyable.
enjoyable.
That's
Okay.
not what I think.
Kat, did you find this movie to be scary?
No, I find this to be a scary movie for people who don't watch scary movies. Like, I feel like my mom could watch this and not feel nervous, really. Because, like, she gets stressed out of, like, the Hunger Games.
Your mom would be nervous watching this movie.
I think she would be nervous to an extent, but because it's, like, a historical fiction film, like, you kind of look past...
Until the last
I don't
10
know.
minutes.
There's some scenes in this movie that really would weird people out. Like that first scene when the baby's first taken and the witch is like
But you don't
slicing
see-
it.
you
That was the only
no.
scary part to me. She's playing peekaboo, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden the baby's gone. That was creepy as
And
fuck.
then they get and the baby's being like rubbed with
Oh,
blood
yeah.
and
Oh.
then sliced
So
open. Like, that's fucking weird. That's creepy as
grinding,
fuck.
Yeah, I guess I forgot about them like grinding the bones of the baby, but
Yeah, she's muddling
she really
the
did.
baby.
Yeah. So maybe not actually.
That's so offensive.
That's actually very offensive. So maybe,
nobody. You have.
I guess I forgot.
I'm
about
saying
that
this
part.
takes a whole different level
Yeah.
of horror movie. Like you can
Yeah,
watch a slasher movie and be
I'd
like, ha ha ha.
say,
You watch this, you go, ugh, this is
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, I don't think this is the type of movie where you, like... Yeah.
It
Tell your
makes-
mom.
Not a feel-good
to watch-
movie.
You don't ask your mom to watch this movie.
No. I guess I just thought it was like a historical fiction, but no. Yeah, she
Clearly,
probably
you
gets
weren't
skeeved
paying
out.
any attention.
Okay.
No, she
Fair
gets
enough.
skeeved out. I'd say it's not scary, like because it wouldn't actually happen because it's a period piece. So
I feel like she would find this movie
It's a-
repugnant.
It's a horror movie. It's not a
repugnant.
period.
Repugnant would be
She
a
would
good
be
Wow,
a-
what does that mean?
Because your mom
Despicable,
is super
disgusting.
religious.
Despicable. Well, I mean, she goes to church.
Yeah, so she would find this so offensive in every single way. This movie is super offensive to people that are religious.
It's a
This movie is
period.
endorsed by the Satanic
like,
Temple.
That should answer
Like
your
we just
question.
talked about it, yeah.
Alright,
So,
okay.
okay. Andrew, favorite scene in this movie,
Favorite scene
if there's one.
in this movie is when I was saying when
Does this movie translate to a
Thomason's
favorite
with her
scene?
brother, was it Caleb?
Caleb.
Caleb down by the river, and he's staring at her tits per usual. Because what else are you going to do if you're a little boy?
Yeah, I don't get that. That's a little weird. I mean, I
It's
guess
not
like,
weird.
yeah.
Incest is
Incest
how
is
this
a
country.
thing.
There was without incest, we wouldn't be around.
Right.
Because you needed incest to start things off. So back
Okay.
then,
Yeah.
you're living in the woods with no one else. You don't have
what
you don't have
happens.
Reddit, Mike. You don't have Instagram. The only yabos you're looking at are your sisters or your moms. So
your mom's
and he was
sister,
he
oh,
was sucking
too
on his mom's boob. Not a big deal that he's
Now
staring at
looking
his
for new
sister's
boobs.
boob.
Yeah, crazy.
Because
Crazy
who
stuff.
else's boob is he going to look at?
So basically, your favorite scene is
So
when Caleb's
no,
looking
but
at the boobs.
but it's in this same scene, and it's when the two little weird fucking midget
twins?
Twins?
No, but they look
They're
like
not midget
they look
twins.
like midgets in that clothing. Because I'm like, what children are wearing this clothing? Black, Philip, black. She's got the little
Phillip,
bonnet,
black
and she
Phillip,
comes running
black
over, and Thomason gets so pissed, and she scares the shit out of him. And then she has this little girl down on the ground, and she goes, "I be the witch of the woods." And the girl's like, no, because she's like, she knows what the Witch of the Woods
I mean,
is.
you ha-
'Cause she's been talking to Black Phillip, too. So she knows that level of fucking insanity.
Right,
I mean, you
yeah.
have to think at that point, right, that she is possessed by the devil or Black Phillip or a witch or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Because she's acting like it. She's acting really weird.
Oh,
She's trying to,
yeah.
obviously trying to scare her siblings,
But it's also to a whole other level.
but it also speaks to the paranoia at that time, right? Almost like the Salem witch trials type paranoia, where like, oh my god, if you even utter the fact that you might be a witch, you are a witch.
Well, because if you said that now, it's sarcasm, and you're just making a joke
So
about
you're
it.
a witch, and you're like,
But at
hey,
that time period,
you are
you're like,
crazy.
nobody says that.
Yeah.
You don't say that to
Yeah.
people.
Of course. Catherine, what about you? Do you have a favorite scene?
Favorite scene? I actually liked the scene, weird enough, when, what's-his-face is dying, the kid,
Caleb.
Caleb, because
He's
he just
possessed.
seems so, like, dramatic and so energetic.
Kid's a phenomenal actor.
Dying.
Great job.
Like, he just did a phenomenal job dying. Like, he was just...
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what he said, but, like, every movement he made and, like, every little breath he took, like...
He was, like, so alive, it was hard to believe he was dying.
Yeah. He was amazing. Like, that was probably my favorite scene in the movie, was just watching him, because, like... And he's such a lovable character from, like, the beginning all the way up until he dies. It's like, he's, like... He kind of plays... in a weird way, he reminded me of, like, Arya Stark. Right?
Okay.
In a weird way.
Yeah. He's trying so hard to, like, you know,
when she was younger,
like be his dad, and he's trying to hunt for the family and trying to, like, provide, and he's running around with a rifle that's 3 times his size, and, like, you know.
So, kind of like Arya Stark.
It's just sad. Yeah, it's just sad to see
and he covers for his dad, too.
He covers for his dad.
They're always covering for the dad.
They all cover for the dad.
The dad is the worst character in the movie, apparently.
He lies, and he's just an ass. But, I mean,
but he's also
in the
put in a
same
very
sense,
tough situation. But he brought them to that
Yeah, he
point.
did. It was because of his pride. It was his fault. So
I wonder if they all had a... so you know how there's, like, the 7 sins? I wonder if they all had one of them.
Oh, there were 7 of them, weren't there? Wow.
That's a good
Andrew.
connection,
Good call.
Andrew.
Well, if you count Black Phillip, right?
No, there's 2 parents,
No.
and there were 5 kids. The baby, the twins, is 3.
Yeah,
and then
there is 7.
Caleb and Thomason. That's 7.
Oh, Andrew. Oh.
Wow, Andrew.
We're gonna have to come back around, like, next episode and talk
about that,
about
'cause
that.
I
Because
came-
we have to think,
literally
we
came with that
can't
off the
just
fucking-
talk about that. That's
a
something
great,
that we should really
That's a
look
great
into.
observation. Great observation. You also neglected to mention the craziest part of the scene is when, before he dies, he spits up an apple with a bite taken out of it, which is just crazy.
Well, that's also when
the movie starts to go into the supernatural.
Doesn't that boil down to Adam and Eve with the apple and the serpent?
Adam and Eve, serpent, apple, yeah.
Well, it would. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
I mean, for me,
Apple.
the best scene of the movie has to be
Apple
when...
is always a sign of, like, poison and, like,
Don't
whatever.
tie it in with Snow White, though.
Stop
it. No,
it is tied in with Snow White.
Andrew, it
has to be.
Or you could tie it in with, I don't know, Adam and Eve and the original.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with Snow White.
So Snow White was much later on.
Right, after Adam and Eve.
It's Adam and Eve.
Right.
It's not Snow
Were
White.
you alive when Adam and Eve were alive?
No, so
do you,
pay
like,
your
know
dues.
them? So how do you know when they were around?
I'm guessing that if this guy that made a movie that the Satanic Church likes, it probably had to do with Adam and Eve and not fucking Snow White.
Well, were you around when Snow White was around?
When did that come out?
The 1920s?
30s?
The original?
40s?
The original one.
Well, it was when there was color. So...
Dude, and the seven dwarfs. Another
50s?
that made me think, 'cause 7 dwarfs, 7 deadly sins.
1937, Snow White and 7 Dwarfs came out. I mean, since we're into spoiler territory here, my favorite scene has to be when Black Phillip reveals himself to Thomason at the end of the movie.
Well, yeah, because
that is
I mean
insane.
the entire
that is
thing
insane,
you're
and that
waiting to
when I
see
talked
Phillip
about
is.
one of the most holy shit moments in a horror movie in the last 5 years, that's it. Because all of a sudden, she's talking to Black Phillip, saying, like, hey, goat. Like, you're the devil, apparently, goat. Like, talk to me, goat. Like, what's going on? Like, you're the devil. And all of a sudden, he's like,
deliciously?
would you like to live deliciously? That's so
That's
fucked
why he
and
said it at the
so
beginning, remember?
weird. Yes, that's why I said it. Yeah. So, yeah, that's my favorite scene.
Black Phillip's scary as fuck.
He is. And there's
He's
a reason.
a goat.
There's a reason that he's been turned into memes. He's been
so
turned into
You're an
a
idiot.
Funko Pop. You can buy a Funko Pop of Black Phillip now.
You can?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, we should get him up here.
I would love to have a Black Phillip Funko Pop, for sure.
Okay. Christmas.
I know where we're all going to go with this, or I should
Friday
say, I know
night.
where I'm going to go with this, and I know where Kat's going to go with this. Cast replacements. Sometimes we skip this over. I think we might have some beefs with this one. Andrew, do you have any beefs with the cast in this movie?
I thought the acting was phenomenal.
I did too.
No, I don't have any problems.
For 95%. Catherine?
You're taking out that weird mom. But she was so crucial to being that weird.
You know, I don't think I would necessarily replace her because I hate her so much almost that I love her.
There's a reason for it. You want to hate her. You should hate her.
I think I would replace the husband.
Oh, no, he's good.
Oh, he's great.
No,
He's
I
in
think
something else, too, and he's phenomenal.
So, fun fact, I have this in here. So, the father, William, is played by Ralph Ineson, and the mom, Catherine, is played by Kate Dickey. They both appeared in Game of Thrones together, although they never shared any scenes together. So they've both been in Game of Thrones. He was one of the Ironborn. He was one of the. He was one of Theon Greyjoy's.
He had a more bigger role than that.
He was a small role in Game of Thrones.
No, I'm saying in like something else other than Game of Thrones.
He probably has. He's one of those guys.
He's got that voice where it's like. Yeah. That voice is.
But they both were in Game of Thrones, and the mother had a bigger role in Game of Thrones. Obviously, the more memorable role where she's breastfeeding her 12-year-old son like a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, I mean,
you hate her. Come on,
I hate her, but I think that like she has to be there because I think to make the movie for this movie, like even though I hate her, like.
Well, if you had never seen Game of Thrones, you would have thought she did a great job.
So, I mean, I guess, honestly, I think I'd replace the father because I think he was just a little bit too much of a pushover. I kind of wish that there was a guy...
You're changing people based off of the role that they're given. He's supposed to act the way he does in the movie, and he's not a pushover. He's a fucking liar.
I think he's the best character in the movie.
He's perfect.
He goes out of his way to defend all of his children.
Yep.
And the mother is a bitch.
Yeah. And he's also perfect at his role as that in that.
He defends Caleb. He defends Thomason. He defends all of his children.
Acting.
Yeah, he's great.
His acting's phenomenal.
So, do you think that Caleb and Thomason are his children from another woman?
They're all his children.
And then
I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think you're overthinking
the twins
this.
and Sam.
No, I think they're all his children. And what you do when you're a bitch back in that time period. Sorry, don't mean to say bitch. It's rude.
Well, you're
there to have children.
Right.
So whether you're 45 or not, at her point, she's probably 30. She probably had her first kid at 12.
She did have an irrational hatred for Thomason. It's insane.
Probably because that was her first child, and she was 12 when she probably had her. Because at that time period, you probably started having kids when you were a baby.
Her.
Maybe you start having feelings that are more beautiful than you at this point, and I don't know, like that type of thing.
Sometimes I feel that way about you, Michael.
Oh, I'm more beautiful than you?
You're sexy
I don't know
as fuck.
about that. You're beautiful.
You guys didn't come from the same womb, so you really
I did get a haircut today.
So me and Mike can have sex? You wouldn't mind, would you?
I guess you could if you wanted to.
That would be a sight for sore eyes.
Yeah, that would be a sight for very sore eyes.
Let's move on to best death of the movie. I'll give you mine. And it's William, the father, getting gored to death by Black Phillip. I mean, is there another one? Is there another one? Maybe the baby getting mashed?
That's what I was...
Andrew,
that's mine.
I go to you.
Mine is the baby getting mashed. So, sorry to get to Andrew, but...
I was going to go with the Black Phillip one, so I'm not going to change it. The one where Black Phillip gores, daddy, dad, Willem, whatever his name is.
Dude, the witch is a ruthless bitch. She kills not only the dog, she kills all the goats, she kills the kids, she kills everybody.
She needs all the blood.
I still think the witch is the mom. In a different form.
No.
Because she's always there, and she's the most evil bitch in the whole thing.
Well, to be fair, at the end, since we're in spoiler territory...
She also finds her way into weird scenes at certain times when I'm like, makes me think you're the witch. Like, she's just there, and, like, it's weird. Like, I don't know. For some reason, watch it again with subtitles and tell me she's not the witch.
Maybe I should watch it.
It's fucking Thomason.
Thomason.
It's not Tommel. It's Thomason.
Thomason.
T-H. It's Thomas.
Thomason.
It's not a left winger for the Red Wings. It's Thomason.
Okay. I ask you.
You asked me.
Would this movie work as a haunted attraction? I say no way, 100%. Jose.
No, you wouldn't do a haunted hayride through this village, like with weird shit going on. Fires.
Oh yeah, through the woods. It'd be a hayride.
It's a perfect hayride.
Are you serious?
A haunted hayride based on the witch.
when Caleb is going through all the like things,
you
and
can
like
make it real good.
Then you get to the house, and then you can be on a haunted hayride through the house, and then you can keep going.
Then you got the witches dancing in the background. Then you got the witch slicing the baby up, and there's
all right, definitely.
Okay, you sold me. Okay, so
we should work for Universal.
I know,
right?
Huh? Seriously,
I know.
Sold.
Hire us,
Catherine. I ask you, who was the MVP of this movie?
Tomlinson. Sorry, I had
Tomlinson.
Tonsillitis and Tomlinson. No, it's fucking Thomason.
Thompson.
Thompson's It's Thompson's Decker. It's for your deck. It's a waterproof and sealed Thompson's.
Thompson's water seal.
Thompson
Water
is
seal.
the VIP.
Thomason.
Yeah, Thompson.
All right, so Thomason. Andrew, what about you?
MVP? Oh, that's tough. It's probably Black Phillip.
How is it not Black Phillip? That's
gotta be
mine
Black
too.
Phillip.
How was it not Black Phillip? Black
First
Phillip.
off, I love goats. Second off, I
love goats?
Tantic
Do you like
goats.
the fainting goats? Have you seen those?
I like the goats where they go.
No, the
I
ones
don't give
that
a
they
fuck what the
freeze
goat's
and they
doing.
fall over.
They're maybe bouncing up and down and they fall over. And to think of a black possessed devil goat, that's my favorite.
That turns
goat of all
into a
time.
man?
That's the
Turns
best.
into a man and says, sign your name in this book? Is this movie deserving of a sequel? Would you like to see a sequel to The Witch?
Yes.
What would you name it?
The Witch 2.
I would name it Top of the Witch to you. No, sorry. No.
No, I think it would be interesting if you kind of went through more of the New England.
You know what you would like? You would like
kind of
it would be
thing.
set in the 90s. Everyone
It
would be
would be
wearing
set in the
everyone would be
90s.
wearing Jinko jeans. And that bitch would be making out with fucking Caleb from high school.
No.
And they would be like, I love you. And I love you. And then, oh, there's a witch over there. Maybe we should fight it. And it would be the most basic bitch movie I've ever seen.
How interesting would it be to see if there was a sequel made where...
Pass.
Didn't even, acknowledge it.
I did acknowledge it.
stupid
I did
movie.
acknowledge it.
Like,
I'm passing.
No, I know why you're passing.
Pass.
Because that's
Pass.
a cat movie.
How interesting would it be to see a sequel where somebody from the plantation where they were excommunicated from was sent out to go find the family, and they found everybody dead?
And then it turned into,
then
True Detective.
Yes.
It
So
was
that's
like...
so that's like
It was like
Two
a guy,
plantation
a guy with a
detectives.
black hat with a buckle on it was like, doesn't look like someone got murdered here. Tis father didn't rub thy penis well enough. Bitch, what are you talking about?
Oh my God.
No, that'd be so
Wow,
good.
wow.
No,
Wow.
But a True Detective, Pilgrim style? Gangnam style?
That worked. Gangnam
Watch
Style.
that.
Open Gangnam Style. So the last thing we have is
isn't a
any
blooper.
final thoughts on the movie
it
before we
is.
wrap, and I'll start. So I think that this is a very good movie. While I don't think it's a great movie, I think it's a movie that if you're a horror fan, you should watch it. I don't think it's a scary movie per se, but I think it absolutely is horror, and it absolutely builds on a sense of dread that you need to watch. So, yeah, Black Phillip Funko Pop. Yep, absolutely. So,
Under the Christmas
for me,
tree.
The Witch, it's a slow burn. It's a good movie. You should watch it. That's what I would say. Andrew, what about you?
I know what I think about this movie, but it's so hard to put into words because
Why don't you just pass?
it's everything I desire in a movie. It's my own personal, it's a movie that speaks to me in a way that Black Phillip speaks to Thomason.
Like Annie Lennox.
Yeah. Like talk to me.
Say Annie Lennox.
Like lovers do.
Annie Lennox.
Like Philip, Black Phillip's
Annie
my
Lennox.
lover. Talk to me like lovers do. Is that what you were referring
Yes.
to? Okay. Anyway, no, this movie's fantastic. It's so artsy fartsy, and I love artsy fartsy movies. So I love this movie, and it's so different level deep, and it's so good, and it just doesn't finish.
Yeah. It doesn't
it's like-
stick the landing.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with Andrew. No, but I do think that I struggled through watching the whole movie just by the way they talked, and then I feel like that kind of just led to more problems, and then I got confused about the plot, and then finally you find out that Tomlinson is
It's fucking Thomason.
Thomason.
Now she's
No
doing it
L.
on, she's doing it on
No,
purpose.
no, I don't think she did because she looked at me before she said it as if
Thomason.
asking me.
Thomason.
And went Tomlinson and looked at me, so she wasn't doing it on purpose.
Thomason. Thomas in. So.
I can't with you.
So. Sorry. So when Thomason is finally saying, "Oh, I'm a witch now, and I want to be a part of this," and blah 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 blah, and maybe I was the whole time, maybe I wasn't, and blah blah blah.
It's a shame the dialogue isn't that Just blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
What a good movie.
It's showtime.
It's just very, like, dry. Like,
it's very
exactly
dry
what
when
it
you
is
say
to me.
blah,
Like,
blah, 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 blah.
yeah, it's like, okay, she's like, well, I'm going to threaten you and say that I'm a witch. And then I'm going to go over here and say that I'm not a witch. And then I'm going to go over here and say I'm not a witch. And then I'm going to finally be like, yeah, man, I'm a witch.
You're missing the point that she's made.
You're
missing the point that she's made a witch. She's
dude.
made to be a witch. She's pushed to be a witch by her parents.
That's by her
Yeah,
parents?
that's the point.
She's pushed to be a witch by her parents.
She is pushed into a certain religious mindset by her parents, and she defies that and turns into a witch at the end.
Her parents are the worst. Her dad makes her lie for her,
female
and cover for her.
empowerment. It's
And her
about
mom just does nothing
yeah.
but fucking tell her what a piece of shit she is the whole time. You missed that?
Yeah.
You did. Okay. Well,
All right, well, fair enough. All right, guys, so we're going to wrap up here on America's Hometown Horror. Thanks again for listening to another episode. Here's where you can find us on social media. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook. Just search for America's Hometown Horror. You can also find us on Twitter at Hometown Horror. You can find us on Instagram at Hometown Horror Pod. You can email us hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find our show on Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, and wherever else you get your motherfucking podcasts. My name is Mike. I've been joined by Andrew and Kat. Thanks again to you guys.
Mike, I have just one question.
Yep.
Would you like to live
Deliciously?
delicious?
I would love to live deliciously. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week. Say goodbye to your audience. Bye.
Goodbye.
Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and just wanted to say thank you again for listening to another episode of our show, because of course, we would be nothing without you listeners. If you are interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I would highly recommend you check out some shows by our cohorts on the Inebriart Podcast Network. That's right, the Inebriart Podcast Network, folks. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find the Inebriart Podcast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, Retro Redoctopus, and Old Colony Cast. Head on over and give them a listen.